Okay, make sure you do.
I'm going to call this meeting to order. It's about 5:33. This is a hybrid meeting, which means we're in person as well as Zoom. Selectman Hull is present as well as myself in person, and Dr. Z is on Zoom. I would ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next agenda item is to review, discuss, and act on contact tracing proposal. I've met twice this past week with the chairman of the Board of Health agent, Mike Mellon, the town administrator, and our town nurse, Nicole Mello. And we talked about the amount of work that was involved in contact tracing. As everybody knows, our numbers have been going up. They're being overwhelmed with number of phone calls they have to make and follow-up phone calls. So we discussed the possibility of posting and hiring another person to do the contact tracing. Have you had an opportunity, Selectman Hull, as well as Dr. Z, to look at the proposed job description?
Yes, I have.
Have any questions about that, Dr. Z? Any questions? Selectman Hull?
Mr. Chairman, I would at this time like to yield the floor to the gentleman from the RTC, Mr. Robert Woods, if he had any questions in regards to this position. Yes, if the chairman would allow.
It's not public input at this time.
Public input, up to you.
It'll be after the vote.
We have another meeting at 6, so we're going to discuss this and then we're going to vote on it, and then
I was
have time.
yielding my discussion to Mr. Woods.
Yeah,
Yourself,
Robert
name and
Woods,
address.
Robert Woods, 158 Chase Street, North Dayton. And, you know, it's a special town meeting. Mr. Pilling was asking for more hours and more money. And we gave him those more hours and we gave him more money.
Hold on for a second.
Hold on 1 second, the TV is updating. That picked a great time to do that. Yeah.
Next week, we'll be discussing Comcast increase in rates.
Yeah. Oh, Brett's back, okay.
No, I could see you the whole time. Nothing.
Oh, we
nothing
can't see you.
interrupted. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's fine.
Yeah, so here at TV is restarting, but as long as you can hear us, you can participate.
Yeah, I never had an interruption in service.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll get back to where I was. We granted him more hours and more money to do this contact tracing and all the things that he said at the meeting and how important it was that he received those extra hours and extra money. And I know that proposal you have here for someone to do contact tracing is $28 an hour. That's an awful lot of money. I mean, the people that work in town hall, for instance, you know, the secretaries and different departments, they don't make $28 an hour. I'd like to know who came up with that figure and why is it so high? And why are we voting on this tonight, a couple of nights before Christmas?
Well, I can.
Not a
let me
regular
answer that question.
Go ahead.
It's because the numbers are increasing. The COVID numbers in town are increasing, and we need to contact these people. Town administrator, I asked that same question, why $28? And he looked up a couple of job descriptions similar to this for contact tracing for other towns, and their rate was $28 to $32. So we stayed with 28. Everybody at that meeting agreed that we should stay at $28 an hour. So that's.
I think that's a awful lot of money. I mean, it's the taxpayers' money, and you're just throwing it out there. And that's all I got. You know something, I'm not going to argue with you.
I have no intention of arguing with you, but you ask questions, and then you don't want to listen to the answer.
$28 an hour to answer the telephone and make
Well,
telephone.
it's not to answer the telephone.
Well,
You have to be trained, you have to be properly trained to call people up. You can't just, anybody just can't call these people up. You're properly trained. If you looked at the job description, which I hope you had an opportunity to, you've asked for certain requirements. You have to be properly trained to answer the questions that the public has.
No.
28,
And you're in support of that.
I'm supporting that.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Selectman Zografis.
Mr. Woods' comments raised a question that I did want to ask. I don't know if anyone here can answer it. I don't know if the health agent's on the call. That's why I said that. But anyway, my question would be, several residents over the course of the pandemic at various times, not so much recently, had reached out and expressed an interest in assisting in contact tracing, getting Maven certified and sort of volunteering. And I know there are, obviously from being in the healthcare industry, I do understand there are privacy concerns with having a non-town employee, you know, and there are privacy rights, right? Calling people that may or may not have contracted the virus. But I guess my question would be, and I would like an answer to it, although I am prepared to vote this evening, would be, is the Board of Health amenable or open to having people volunteer? I guess that's my one question.
My conversations with them, we didn't discuss that at all. We did talk about the increase, well, you know, because perks and everything else continues, even though we've increased its hours, but the numbers have increased because, and this was predicted because of Thanksgiving and now Christmas coming up, the numbers are increasing. Public health nurse, she's straight out, and this is a way to assist her. She would be providing the guidance and the supervision for this person. We're not taking any hours away from the town nurse. And we're also going to be asking that the funds to pay for this is going to be ARPA funds. So it's not funds that the taxpayers have been asked to pay for.
Okay, I understand, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
I'm not yielding the floor to you, so. Any other questions, Dr. Z?
What I'd like to say is,
I'm not allowing you to speak.
you're not allowing me to.
I'm not allowing you to. The public,
How about if I say please?
you know,
It's just a brief statement.
have a seat. You said you were finished and you didn't want to argue, and now you're coming back up here again.
I'm not arguing, I just have a statement.
As to what you,
I've been involved in this town for a long time.
so have I.
I know. Okay, so you know as well as me, every time this town has hired someone part-time, has turned into a full-time position, every single one of them.
Whether that's true, but you can,
It's true.
you can say that if you want.
It's true. And they're gonna say, oh, let's give her some more hours. Well, let's make her full-time. Let's give her benefits.
Well, let's hope we don't have to hire a full-time person
Mark my word.
for contact tracing because the numbers are going crazy. Let's hope we don't have to get to that point, because that's all this person's being hired for. Not doing perk tests, none of that other stuff. They're doing contact tracing. And I want people to be contacted when somebody that they've been in contact with has got COVID. They need to be told that information. We're trying to save people's lives. We've lost 9 people in town, for crying out loud, and our numbers are just going up and up and up. So I'm going to be the adult in this room and say that we need to deal with this. Okay?
It's gonna turn into a full-time position.
Selectman Hull.
This question, Mr. Chairman, is for Mr. Mullen. What is the percentage of assurance that this will be paid for by ARPA funds and not by taxpayer funds? You 100% sure that it'll be ARPA? Is it conditional?
100% sure this is a qualifying expense under ARPA. This is one of the tools that, so actually the ARPA funding provides, so yes.
And it will not impact the taxpayers of the town of Dayton?
No, it will actually help the taxpayers of Dayton.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Dr. Z?
I'm sorry, just sometimes the conversation raises other questions or points. My other question for either, I guess, the town administrator, if he doesn't mind answering, would be, in the past, as we know, when the numbers got out of control, we did use CARES funding to allow members of the health department to perform overtime, right? To be able to manage their regular duties with obviously the duties of contact tracing. So my question would be, would this temporary, this is my description of it, because I'm not going to support something that becomes permanent, because we are going to use ARPA funds for this, and we do have a consulting firm that should be telling us which expenses are eligible and are not. Also paid
Yeah,
for
those are one-time only funds.
Yep. So I guess my question is, would this avoid overtime for full-time current health personnel? Because in that way, I do think it would be beneficial and save money as well.
If you don't mind, I'll answer that question, because that question was asked. Because I think initially they were seeking additional hours for the contact tracing. I suggested that we hire somebody separately at a lower rate than time and a half to do the contact tracing. So that's why we're at this stage right here.
And
Why we're
using
hiring, and if you look at the job description, it's for 3 months. We're talking about ARPA funds, and there's definitely a need for it. The numbers are, in a month from now, perhaps the numbers are going to start going down again. They're predicting maybe again in March, the numbers will start going down, but at least for the immediate future, we need to deal with this. We need to let our residents know when they've been in contact with somebody with COVID. So.
Yes, no, I agree. I wasn't, I hope, my questions are not meant to be unsupportive. I'm ultimately supporting this because it will avoid overtime, right? We're going to save money that way. We know people need to make these calls because the state is mandating that we make these phone calls because the CTC is no longer doing it themselves through the Commonwealth. So please don't interpret my comments as not being supportive. I do just have questions and just wanted assurances on like the cost savings part of it and the fact that it is going to come out of the ARPA funds and is an eligible expense. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I don't know if you're on. I don't know if you know I'm on here.
Yep.
I'm 669-5186. Both statements by yourself and Selectmen Zagrafis are right on, 100% accurate. We had talked about various options of doing this, and the most straightforward way, and I think the easiest way would be to hire that person, although I'm not sure. We expect it to slack off sometime in January. So I'm hoping that this person would be able to help us soon. But since it's being paid by ARPA funds, you're right on spot on with that also, the board. So it seems like the best way out right now as far as we're concerned, and that's what we discussed today at our meeting. So I'm on board with that. As far as it should be no cost to the taxpayer. So, all right.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Pius. Selectman Hull, you had your hand up?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, at this time, I would like to make a motion that the town of Dayton post the position for a temporary per diem contact tracer for approximately 3 months to be funded by ARPA funds, total of $5,040.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Dr. Z, Selectman Hull?
No.
I'll call for a vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is an aye. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Just before we take the vote, we're coming back in at 6 o'clock. We have a FinCom meeting that the Board of Selectmen are also going to be present, but it's a FinCom meeting at 6 o'clock. So I'll call for a vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico is an aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to say for everyone on the Zoom who is interested in logging into the FinCom, there is a separate FinCom Zoom link.
Dr. Z staying?
And that's on the FinCom agenda. Thank you, everybody.
He is.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.